And I wanted to ask you that if a person has already fallen in love, even if the person is not following hijab and because of that gets into it but later on realizes his or her mistake, then how would a person convince the person who has fallen in love? What measures would you give to stay away from it and to maintain the hijab, and so that the person does not fall prey to his or her desires like staring and stuff like that?
Just to ask the question that if a person, being a teenager, that's what was the earlier question, has fallen in love, and because of some habits, maybe staring and intermingling, which now he has realized, so what advice can we give him so that he comes out of it? Now the question is, fallen in love, how much has he fallen is important. So first I'll do a survey, how much has he fallen? To what extent has he fallen? To which levels of Sharia has he fallen or she has fallen? So first I'll do that, and then I'll try and advise him. If it's just infatuation with the person has breaking certain rules of the hijab and little bit intermingling, little bit handshakes and all, little bit going out and all, that it's easier to get him out. But if he's fallen so deep to the bottom of the well that he had a relationship, then my advice would be different. Fine? Because the Quran also says in Surah Nur chapter 24, verse 2-3, that adulterous woman should marry an adulterous man or an unbelieving man. For zani, it's a zaniyat, and for zaniyat, it's a zani. So based on this, my advice would be different, trying to find what extent is it, who's the girl, or the girl has fallen into boy, who's that boy, how well can they get along together, etc. So the advice would depend upon what level has the person fallen. If it's extreme level, I'll try and find that, see to it that if he has improved or she has improved, and the other girlfriend or boyfriend, what level is he or she, and then try and counsel. And if both can come to the straight path, what they have done is wrong, that's no problem. If both are coming to the straight path and both have realized their mistake and they agree to follow Quran and Sunnah, I would say, okay, get married. Fine. So at least they follow the verse of the Quran, that both have committed that sin and both continue. But if it is that they have not gone to that deep level, then it is but natural. You say it's an infatuation, what it is wrong, stay away from it. And but natural, get him closer to the Islamic activities, ask him to read the Quran, ask him to see Islamic lectures. And but natural, one of the important thing is lowering the gaze. That whenever you're interacting with any opposite sex, if he or she is not the mahram, then you lower the gaze. This is very important. This is a very important factor, because if you have to talk to the opposite, lowering the gaze, then the chances of getting infatuated less. But if you lower the gaze and meet every day for half an hour and talk, if it's a classmate, then also there's a problem. Lowering the gaze and talking, then the voice is sufficient to infatuate you. Same thing. So all these are things that should not meet the opposite sex unnecessarily. You know, how you, where do you go? I went out, I went to Singapore for holiday. Oh, how was it? Very good. Which is the last movie you saw? These things you can speak. The girl can speak with the girlfriend, the boy can speak with the boyfriend, but opposite sex is not required at all. So these things which are not required, not a must to speak, should be avoided while speaking with the opposite sex. And when required, when certain thing is there, when you have to speak with lowering the gaze, whether it's a duty of performing or in college, etc. So in that time, lowering the gaze and speaking, this will prevent them from getting involved in this thing. And the best is, if you are young, get married as early as possible. As I mentioned earlier, beloved Prophet ﷺ said, it's hadith of Sahih Bukhari, volume number 7, in the book of Nikah, chapter number 3, hadith number 4, that, oh young people, whoever has the means to get married should get married. So that will protect the modesty. So best is marrying early. If you marry early, it is good. There are less chances of deviating. And it's easier to be on the Quran and Sunnah. And there are many benefits. So marrying early is preferable. But again, that's the reason you try and find a life partner. And don't wait too long. I'm trying to find a good life partner now. I'm only 20 now, 21, 22, then you're 30. Then all your options that you have done down. So don't wait till 35, 40 and then you sit down to compromise. So earlier the better. When you realize after maybe a few months or a couple of years the market is what you want and not getting. So see to it that you take the decision fast. Don't be too late. Then your compromise will keep on getting so low. So then you go, oh, that person what I had is far 10 times better than what I got now. The person you rejected, thinking he's not virtuous, your virtuous definition. The one you marry is 10 times worse than him and has other problems, but then it is your choice. So that's very important, the decision that you take. Therefore, being in consultation with someone who's knowledgeable, someone who's experienced, someone who can guide you is very important in this case. Hope that answers the question, sister.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My question is, can a wife insist on separate living quarters for herself and her children away from in-law, knowing that the parents are old and husband can't afford to maintenance of two homes? Does he have to fulfill her demand?
Sister has a question that, is it permissible for a woman to ask her husband for separate lodging and boarding, a separate family, rather than staying with the parent-in-laws, knowing very well that he cannot afford it? It's totally wrong. It's putting the husband in difficulty and putting yourself in difficulty. So if you know that the husband can't afford and you put, fine, before marriage, no problem. Before you marry, you say, I'll marry you if you have a new home, I cannot stay, that's permissible. He won't marry you, you don't marry him, you can stay separately, no problem. Once you're married, then you put the condition that I want to stay separately, and he may be earning less. He has his duties to look after the family as well look after the parents. Because his Jannah is beneath the feet of his mother. So you want to take your husband out of his Jannah is wrong, sister. And especially knowing very well that he cannot afford it, so do you want him to throw parents out of the house? That means you're not a virtuous wife. The virtuous wife would never say that. So taking care of the parents indirectly also becomes the duty of the wife. Though they may not be your direct mother and father, but they are father-in-law and mother-in-law. Because you have to look after your husband, and one of the duties of your husband is to look after his parents, so it becomes indirect your duty. Indirect, it becomes the duty. Indirect. Since you are the muhsana, you have to try and see to it that you don't create problems. But if he says you want to separate, no problem, why do you require separate? If he says that there's so much difficulty, all staying together, so you have to solace him and say that this difficulty, no problem, at least this will take us to Jannah. If you stay separately, then I won't be able to serve your mother, you won't be able to serve your mother. So better we face some difficulties in this world so that we have a Jannah in the hereafter. That's a muhsana. So I feel, yes, fine, if they're very well off and if they stay separately and he can look after the parents also, and saying that fine, because my parents are elderly, they prefer staying separately and they don't mind, and you have a separate, then it's fine. If that's the wish of the parents, or if it's easily done and yet he takes care of both, he can keep someone to take care, etc., that's permissible. But if it's difficult and if it's poor, going to get difficulties for you and your parents all, then I feel it should not be done. Hope that answers the question.
If a non-Muslim girl marries a Muslim boy, is it compulsory for her to change her name after marriage?
If a non-Muslim girl marries a Muslim boy, unless she doesn't accept Islam, she cannot marry. If a non-Muslim,
after she accepts Islam and she marries,
and then marries, does she have to change the name? It is not compulsory for her to change the name unless the name involves shirk. If the name involves shirk, like Lakshmi, Lakshmi is the name of one of the goddesses. If it involves shirk, she has to change it. If it does not involve shirk, it's not for to change, but it is preferable. It's preferable, especially in this age. Though at that time people never used to change the name. But here I feel it's a requirement, because if she's proud to be a Muslim, why should she not want people to know that she accepted Islam? So if she's only done for namesake, because infatuation, then that she will not want to change. She doesn't want to show that yet she is a non-Muslim. So my advice in such case would be that it is preferable that she changes the name, so that the people will not get a misunderstanding that she is yet a non-Muslim. But it's not a farz to change. That answers the question.
Zakir.
Any sisters, any questions?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
What is meher and what is its purpose?
What is meher and what is its purpose? Meher is a marital gift. And the Quran says in Surah Nisa chapter 4 verse number 4 that give to the woman in marriage a marital gift, a dower. So meher is one of the criteria, is very important criteria for marriage to solemnize. When a marriage takes place between a man and a woman, when the contract is said that do you accept this woman as your wife and do you accept this man as your husband, and then there has to be a stipulated amount of meher. Now meher is compulsory for marriage to solemnize, and there are hadiths which say that there is no limitation for meher. The Quran says in Surah Nisa chapter 4 verse number 20 that you can even give a mountain of gold in meher. On the other hand, there's a Sahaba who says that I want to marry but I don't have any money. So he said, do you have any money? He said, nothing. So the Prophet asked him, that do you know few verses of the Quran? He says, yes. So teach these verses to your wife and that is meher. So teaching certain verses of the Quran which you have memorized to your wife can also be meher. So that's one of the lowest end described in the hadith, and the highest end is the mountain of gold. So there's no extent to the meher. But normally meher is to be decided both by the would-be husband and wife based on the economic status. There's no limit for meher, but normally it is decided on the economic status of the would-be husband and wife. And meher can be used for various ways. People normally have misunderstanding that meher is only used for divorce. You know, when you divorce, so this meher will be useful. It may be one of the reasons. When you're marrying, are you thinking of divorce first? When you're marrying, you're thinking you live with that man for lifetime, inshallah, and that man thinks he'll be with that girl for lifetime. Nobody thinking of divorce. So to think that meher is for divorce, it can be utilized if, God forbid, divorce takes place. But meher is a marital gift. In our Indian culture, it is opposite. It is the would-be wife who gives to the husband. And depending upon the status, if it is graduate, then 100,000 rupees, engineer 500,000 rupees. If it's a doctor, then 1 million rupees. As the herd, then cattle are being sold in the marketplace. Demanding dowry from the would-be wife, directly or indirectly, is haram in Islam. You can't even give an indication that, you know, my son likes to travel in a Mercedes car, indicating I want a Mercedes car in dowry. My son likes to live in a 3-bedroom apartment, indicating I want a 3-bedroom apartment for dowry. Directly or indirectly demanding anything from the would-be wife is haram. If the parents of the girl willingly give certain gifts, it's permissible. But demanding is prohibited. On the other hand, it is the would-be husband that gives to the wife. But nowadays, you know, you have custom that you keep a meher of 786 rupees. With 786 rupees, you can't even buy a pair of shoes. And then they spend tens of lakhs of rupees on decoration, deception, but keep the meher as 786 rupees. Where do they get this from? Those are no limit for meher, as I said. It is mutually decided by the would-be husband. Many times, okay, fine, everything is decided in the morning. Arey, aaj sham ko nikah, meher ka amount fix nahi kiye. No, today is the nikah, we haven't fixed the meher. Okay, 786, okay, mention 500 rupees or mention 5,000 rupees. As though it's not important at all. Actually, meher is decided by the would-be husband and wife, depending upon the economic status, depending upon the financial status. It can be a mountain of gold, it can be a few verses of the Quran, and a person can demand, okay, I want so and so. If the person says, okay, you have demanded 100,000 rupees, I'm poor, I can't give. So either she reduces the meher, or she finds a new husband and he finds a new wife. So there can be a compromise, there can be a bargaining, no problem. But the meher can be utilized in various ways. Maybe the girl is poor, and she thinks that fine, now I've asked for 50,000 rupees as meher, I would like to gift it to my parents. My parents spend so much of money, so much of time, energy upbringing me, I want to give this as a gift. Example. She can maybe keep it for her children when they grow up. She can invest it in some business. Whatever return she gets, she can utilize it. She is the owner of that meher. And meher are of 3 types. One is whatever meher you decide. You give the complete amount at the time of nikah. Second type is you delay it, you say, I will give it later. But when you say give it later, it has to be given. And if the husband dies, first the meher amount is removed from the inheritance and then the balance amount is distributed in the inheritors. Person who inherit. The third type is partly you give at the time of nikah and partly delay it. These are the various types of meher. And there are various utilization of meher. And one utilization can also be that God forbid if something happens and if divorce takes place, she can utilize the money. That's one of the utilization. Hope that answers the question, sister.